Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome back to Bitcoin update. And we're looking at Bitcoin at 27,183. Still the very same prices that is being maintained for the past few days. It's a boring market, sideways market. And keep in mind, I've said this so many times for so many ages now that crypto trading is really boring. Okay, very boring, like super boring. And most of the time it just requires you to sit down and do nothing. Okay, if you want to earn in crypto, all you got to do is sit. Simple, right? Which I find it a little bit hard for people to do, and I don't understand why people are interested to do labor and find sitting to be a little bit difficult. This is not make it's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. So move down, move up, move down, move up. We have a squeeze. We're coming off all the way down until July. I do believe this is a very picture perfect falling wedge, and soon enough we're going to be breaking above the falling wedge and go back to 30,000. Some of the altcoins are looking to be breaking out as well. They're looking to try to climb back up, and this is how it looks. The squeeze still continues. Nothing much new. I don't think I'm going to go into the details right now. And there's one important level that we still need to potentially flip, and we might have flipped it already. And there's a little bit of difference in the trend line as far as I'm noticing. So for example, back 2 days ago when I talked about this pattern right here, the trend line of this pattern was quite interesting, because the pattern can actually be that some people say that the trend line is pretty much straight, and it seems like the trend line here is pretty much like that. Okay, this is how I do believe that the trend line is looking like. You have resistances here, breakout in a retest. That's what makes sense to me. Now there's one more thing that I still got to show you, right? So if I do remove this one and that one and this one as well, now for some reason if I do take the trend line, we might see another area which is like this. Okay, and you might say that we still have this one support that is now still a resistance to go down. Again, the tricky trend lines that is coming in, and the trend lines that I'm looking at, and this is my personal comment, no any cheating and stuff like that. So some people might disagree, might agree, but when I look at it, I still feel like this trend line is not really straight, and this trend line is almost like down like this. How about that? How about we make the trend line a little bit different like that? Here we go. Because you can say that you do have this one touch as support, right? So you touch it, you move back up, you touch this one right here, and you move back up a little bit. So I'm almost like including the tips of this support system, because you got one touch, second touch, and a third touch. That's a perfect trend line. Okay, pretty valid. So the checks is done, and when you extend the trend line like this, then you might be able to say that you've broken out of this resistance and you're holding it as support as well. So that's another thing that you got to keep in mind as well. And you can see that we have a squeeze coming in, and we might even get a crossover of the EMAs and start to push back once again. So I'm very positive on Bitcoin right now, even though Bitcoin can actually crack down. So let's talk about the correction. Okay, since we are breaking out of stuff, and if I bring in another trend line here, you got a very solid break above something here. So what I'm looking at is the following, something like boom and boom like that. Okay, so you ended up breaking out of this particular resistance as well. So one resistance here, resistance there, breakout, and you're holding it as retest. So this is a very big support right now. I will say, how about try to trade Bitcoin with a stop loss down at 25,283? Okay, I would recommend, let's look how much is the risk right now. Okay, so we're talking about nearly a move down from there to there, and maybe just 7%. And do some money management here. If you want to learn a lot of stuff like those stuff, you can hit me up on Twitter, and try to ride it all the way to the moon, potentially even all the way to $69,000. It's still possible. So that's it for this update on Bitcoin. Let's see what happens, and I'm going to see you with the next one. Allah Hafiz.